duty calls, the LAPD responds.
Let's be careful out there.
Working as a team to protect and to serve.
Whoever's got a gun, leave us alone! Why don't you just let her go? We have a critical missing.
I lost my puppy.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
Code from the Amber Alert.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary Grady, Public Information Director for the Los Angeles Police Department. Welcome to Inside the LAPD. The Los Angeles Police Department patrols nearly 500 square miles in the City of Angels. 25 of those square miles are right here in Pacific area. From the beautiful Pacific Ocean on the west to the 405 on the east and the Santa Monica Freeway on the north to El Segundo on the south, the people who live in Pacific area depend on the nearly 300 officers and civilians who work right here at Pacific Division.
Hi, my name's Joe Hiltner. I'm the commanding officer of Pacific area. I've been here since July of 2007. And prior to that, I spent about 2.5 months over at LAX as the commanding officer there. I've got just over 30 years on. I came on the department in April of 1978.
And you wanted to be a police officer because?
Actually, a friend of our family was a lieutenant in charge of community relations at Rampart area back in the early 70s. And I was finishing up high school, wondering what I wanted to do with my life as far as a career, what to do, and I always was impressed with the line of work of police work, and of course Adam 12 and those shows were on, and it seemed like an interesting profession, and certainly one that I thought would be challenging and rewarding, and it has been for all 30 plus years.
What would you find to be the most challenging aspect of your 30 years?
I think the most challenging aspect is trying to communicate how we can work with the community and how the community can work with us. The one thing that we face here in Pacific area, as other areas where our primary focus, is property crime, and trying to communicate to the public that they can help us immensely by locking their cars, by not leaving items of value in plain view for suspects that may just be opportunists that are passing by. Leave those items out of view, lock their cars, lock their homes when they leave, be good neighbors, pick up the papers for their neighbor across the street or next door while they're on vacation or away from the home for a few days, and just be good, vigilant eyes and ears without getting in the way of suspects if they encounter them, but just good witnesses that can pass on that information to us so that we can work with it. And I've been just impressed as can be with the community that we work with here in Pacific area. They are very, very vigilant. We've got a number of community members that want to work with us, give us information, and time after time it pans out and we're able to make arrests and take suspects off the street that would otherwise be predators on the street.
What's crime like now in Pacific, and historically, what's it been like?
Crime's down 2 years running now. Last year we finished the year out with about a 4% reduction in Part 1 crimes, and those are the major crimes that we deal with when we say Part 1, which is homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, GTA, grand theft auto, burglary, theft from motor vehicle, and those types of crimes. So last year we finished with a 4% reduction. Right now, Pacific area is at an 8% reduction in Part 1 crime. One of the big benefits is we've been preaching to the community, and they're working with us by locking their cars and keeping those items of value out of sight. Our aggravated assaults are up slightly this year to date over last year to date. The aggravated assaults are everything from incidents involving transients, sometimes the victim, sometimes the suspect. In some cases they're business disputes, in some cases they're two individuals that maybe had a little bit too much to drink. And they're not concentrated in one area, although we do have issues down at the beach at times. That doesn't seem to be our primary focus. They seem to be throughout the area. And when I say it's up slightly, we're up about 2%, 1% to 2% in that area. And again, we're trying to work with the community, deal with some of these issues, homeless issues, and be proactive by taking enforcement action so that sometimes these incidents that lead to heated disputes don't lead to something that where we have a crime committed, and by taking these individuals and getting them the help they need in some cases, or dealing with these homeless encampments, that we can prevent that from occurring.
Here you are 30 years later. Would you say, after you first started with the department, would you say that the technology and the strategies used and just the way we fight crime now is just so different from when you started, and it's much more effective, the type of policing?
Absolutely. When I came on, we had the hot sheets that were in the car. We had what we call daily occurrence sheets, which records would print up based on the information they got from buying the DR for the crime report that we were taking, the crime report number. And that information would be put onto a sheet that we could look at, and if we saw a car, look at the plate, see if it's listed on that hot sheet. But typically that information was stale by the time we got it. And so now to try and act on it and make something of it, occasionally it panned out if you had an individual that was driving a stolen car for a number of days running. But now the information is in real time, and clearly the ability of us to get a crime alert, to share it with adjoining jurisdictions, with other agencies, is just phenomenal because of that real-time ability to look at information and work with it to take that suspect into custody much more quickly.
Is it more fun now this way?
It's much more fun and much more interesting because the information's there that I think sometimes the suspects can't believe that we're in possession of that information as quickly as we are, because they realize the crime was just committed. So it is, we have a tremendous group of officers here, hardworking, that it's incredible. I'll read about a robbery that took place, and in our morning report, only to find out that the officers saw the vehicle 2 blocks away, made a vehicle stop. They located witnesses, they put together a lineup, a field show up, and we've got the suspects in custody, the property returned to the victim in short order, and the bad guys in jail, and the good guys are getting their property back, and they're happy.
That's amazing. You must get suspects who are like, how did you find me?
Absolutely. And I mentioned earlier we had an incident where we had some closed-circuit TV video of a couple of burglary suspects, and lo and behold, about a week and a half passed by. Another jurisdiction had those suspects in custody on some prints, and ultimately we were able to tie them. They were able to recognize them from the video of the crime that had occurred in our jurisdiction, and we have 3 suspects in custody, and we're going to be able to get some property back to those victims.
What do you love most about Pacific area and working in this area, in particular in Pacific Division?
It's a very diverse community, and we've got a number of very expensive living areas. We've got some areas that are a little lesser on the scale, and everything in between. The area of Venice, down at the beach, we deal with a number of different personalities and types of people. The ordinance dealing with vending, the noise of some of the issues that we have down there, and it's a challenge to bring all of those different desires, I guess you could say, together. And in some cases there is conflict among the homeowners and dealing with the noise and the vending and so on. So our challenge is to abide by the law, follow the law, work with the city attorney, work with the various entities that we work with, whether it's building and safety, Bureau of Engineering, Rec and Parks, to fine-tune how we bring all those competing interests together and make it all work and provide for a quality of life that is in everybody's best interest.
Joining me now is Captain Ruben De La Torre, and I understand, Captain De La Torre, you're new here, recently promoted.
Yes, I've been here 7 weeks.
7 weeks. So what have you learned about Pacific area so far?
Well, I've learned that it's challenging and the weather's great, and I absolutely love it. Good, outstanding people here, and it's a great community.
Okay, this is Pacific area. Everything in yellow is Pacific area?
That's correct. Everything outlined here, this is the area that I'm responsible for here in Patrol. It's approximately 26 square miles, and we have 250,000 residents who either live or work within this particular area.
All right, what are some of the areas of most concern in Pacific area for you as a patrol captain?
Well, certainly the entire division concerns me, but we have 3 major areas that I think are of importance. One, not only to Pacific, but to the Southland. One, you have LAX, which is Los Angeles International Airport, and we have millions of travelers that come in and out of the airport on a daily basis. The other area that we have is Venice Beach, which is a very popular tourist attraction here in Los Angeles, and it's second to Disneyland.
You mean out of all the tourist attractions in Los Angeles, Venice Beach is second in Southern California to Disneyland?
Yes.
So that must mean you must get millions of people then that go in and out of Venice Beach.
Oh, absolutely. On a weekend, it is absolutely jam-packed with visitors. The traffic, pedestrian traffic, not only on the boardwalk itself, but on the beach. We get hundreds of people that come in, thousands. We have entertainers, we have people are selling and showing the different artifacts that they have. It's people come here to enjoy the weather, to enjoy the food. It really is kind of a sight to see when you go down there a little bit later.
Yeah, that we are definitely going to do. Now, you had mentioned LAX. Isn't LAX patrolled by the LAX police?
LAX is unique in that it has its own police department, what we refer to LAWA, or Los Angeles World Airlines, their police department. Captain Bill Sutton also has a division there from the LAPD, and he has a contingency of officers. But overall responsibility for the airport falls under Captain Joe Hiltner and then myself.
So you have to patrol the area around the airport. And what about any crimes that are committed at the airport? Is that the responsibility of Pacific area to investigate?
Well, the crimes that occur within the airport, it will either fall upon the police officers we have there now that are assigned to LAX or LAWA, but certainly we can be called upon to help them. And anything exterior-wise, with all the major hotels on the corridor here on Century Boulevard, we have numerous major hotels here. We certainly would handle any crime involving that particular area.
Now, some of the areas you've worked in the city prior to Pacific, different than this area? Is this a little more unique, would you say, based upon the makeup of the folks that you have and kind of the geography that you have here?
The majority of my experience has been on the east end of Los Angeles, so certainly the challenges here are a lot different. We have much more property crime in this division, and the challenges that the officers face here in the field are different than where I'm accustomed to working or where I had previously been assigned, because a lot of those challenges were more in the area of violent crime. And in Pacific, with so many people coming in and the tourists, your suspects here are more transparent, or in other words, they're not living in the area, they commute here, they leave here, so it's not like they're within this particular area. But and then the other thing is I've never worked a community where there's been a beach, and that presents its own different problem.
Well, Captain De La Torre, you talked about the suspects who kind of commute in, and those are the folks that you're looking for. But then there are the folks who are hunting for them, which are all the officers who work here and some of the civilians who are the support staff. So let's go meet some of them. Okay, so this is the administrative area, I'm assuming?
This is our administrative area. This is what I refer to as our professional staff, and our adjutants and secretaries and people that run the daily operations here, behind the scenes.
Which you have to have. Everybody forgets. You have to have those.
Definitely have to have that. They're the ones that kind of make, without them we wouldn't get paid, and a lot of things wouldn't get processed. How are you guys?
What do we got here?
Here you have the officers getting ready to go out on the beat, our Watch 7, which starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the officers come into the kit room, and they gather their equipment, and they prepare themselves for tonight's work.
Now, most people don't understand what a kit room is. Explain that to us and exactly what they're getting.
The kit room is where we maintain all of our equipment, our radios, our shotguns, tasers, batteries, flashlights, you name it. Anything that we would need to fulfill an operation here at Pacific area is available to us in there. The officers have to check it out. They're responsible for it. And at the end of the shift, they have to turn that equipment back in.
And I noticed one of the officers is actually getting a radio. Now, each officer isn't assigned a radio?
Each officer is assigned their own radio.
They are? Okay.
They are, yes.
But they have to check them out from the kit room?
That's correct.
Okay. And what would this big black bag be that this officer's carrying?
This is the officer's UPR. Which is referred to as the urban rifle that we can deploy in the event of a major incident. Maybe some of your viewers remember North Hollywood, the bank robbery we had there that was so famous. From that is when the department decided it needed to hand some armament to be able to better handle that type of a situation. So all of the officers, those that qualify go to the training, and they're able to carry that equipment in the field.
And so the shotgun that this officer has right here, if we can take a look at that real quickly.
The
green one.
Yeah, this particular one, that is not a shotgun.
Oh, that's not, okay.
That is our BMAG rifle that we can deploy. It's a non-lethal weapon. So in the event that we wanted to deploy it, or let's say a person that maybe is carrying a knife or maybe under the influence of alcohol, rather than going to your sidearm, you could use that non-lethal weapon. It projects a beanbag, it strikes a person, and it allows us to take him into custody without any further injury to either the suspect or the officer.
And once they've been arrested, then those suspects, you have to actually have the detectives investigate the case, right?
That is correct.
And this is the area where they work?
This is the area where they work. We have some of the finest detectives on the department here in the Pacific area. And you see the different cubicles. Each one is different, and they're responsible for investigating perhaps a GTA. We have juvenile detectives that specifically handle our homicides, which are the murders, robbery. We have our major assault unit. So that arrest would be processed through here, or any crime will come through here. The detective will take that case, investigate it until we arrest the suspect, recover property, and ultimately take it to the judicial process and on through court.
So we've seen detectives. Now where are we headed?
We're headed to the Watch Commander's office. This is kind of the nerve center for Pacific area.
Okay.
And a lot of the work is filtered to the officers from here. We receive calls. We manage the officers' workload. Supervisors do their work here. So this is the nerve center for Pacific area.
And who do we have here?
Here we have Sergeant Martin, one of our finest watch commanders here.
Hi, Sergeant. How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Busy day, slow day?
It's been moderate, busy work, slow, but an average day here.
In lovely Pacific.
Yes.
What are watch commanders responsible for?
The watch commander is responsible for the everyday daily operations of the patrol units out in the field that you see. They have an immense responsibility because they have to control the crime, take care of the officers, the community, the department. So they're kind of responsible for a lot of different things that occur within the division. And they make the decisions every single day, every single minute, and sometimes it involves life and death.
Now this is also where if somebody's being booked, a suspect is being booked, they have to come through to the watch commander as well?
Watch commander approves the majority of the arrests that come through here. and the reports. He reviews them, helps the officers to investigate, and provides any resources that they may need, and handles all the administrative work that comes with an officer's working here. So they're very busy.
Okay, the other people who are busy are the folks at the front desk, right?
That is correct. We have officers that run our front desk 7 days a week, 24 hours every single day. And here we have an example of 2 police officers that are handling concerns that the community may have, and they come in here. They can report any crime they'd like. Oftentimes they come in for advice. It could be a neighbor dispute. It could be questions about anything occurring in the community. So we help them as much as we can.
So this is where the calls come into first, is the front desk usually?
When a person calls Pacific area, they will be greeted by an officer here at Pacific area, and then that officer will send that call to the appropriate person. So it could be the watch commander, it could be myself, it could be detectives, it could be a community relations. So they filter all of that.
You had mentioned the beach. So that's where we're going to head right now with one of your officers, and we'll get a chance to see exactly what's going on in Pacific area. Kind of an idea of what's it like to patrol Venice Beach?
It's a unique experience. As you can see, on a daily basis, we could have almost 100,000 people on this beach. We have a pretty good tourist population from all parts of the world. I would say on any given weekend, my picture is probably taken half a dozen times a day and ends up in all different parts of the world.
On the internet?
Yes, and we are on the internet. But we also, it's a diverse community. We have residents mixed in with merchants along our boardwalk. We have homes that have been here for 40, 50, 60 years that are pretty much the same, but yet we have new homes over there on the other side of the pier that are multi-million-dollar homes. So it's an interesting area. Plus, unfortunately, we have a little bit of our homeless population.
Right.
So
what are the toughest issues that you deal with here on Venice Beach, would you say?
Probably our homeless issue, unfortunately. Someone, unfortunately, I would say they choose to be homeless and choose to live a lifestyle that a lot of us don't maybe particularly care for, but some of them do have some mental.
So they're a little shelter resistant.
Yes.
They don't want to go to the shelters. They would prefer to stay here on the beach.
Yeah, and we do have the alcohol and the drug issues with them. We don't have that much violent crime, but again, we have some property crime with the number of people that are here. People will occasionally just leave stuff laying out and go in the water. We get our opportunities. So, but primarily it's a public service detail, in my opinion. We're here to make sure people enjoy the beach.
On any given day, our duties, we patrol along the sand, up and down the sand, monitoring high visibility, monitoring for any type of crime that may be occurring on the sand, as well as the boardwalk, up and down the boardwalk. We have specific locations that we like to hit where we have our usuals that hang out and they like to loiter and sometimes we can get them smoking some narcotics or drinking in public. I like to hang out at what we call the pagodas. A little bit here, I'll stop at some of the pagodas and I'll show you. I'm sure we'll have some of our usuals hanging out there. And we sight them almost every day. We're citing them for drinking in public, citing them for narcotics, and they continue to do it. It's like a revolving door. Take them to jail, they're out a week later, and they're doing the same thing. It doesn't bother them going to jail. And it's funny, actually, some of them tell us that they like going to jail because going to jail, they get to take a shower, they get something to eat, they get cleaned up, and they're right back at it. Here at the beach, it's a lot different. Like my sergeant was saying earlier, I'd probably take at least 6 or 7 pictures with citizens along the boardwalk each day. It's something that I've never experienced before. On patrol is completely different than patrol.
Hi.
You work for now?
Do me a favor, bro. Have a seat. All right, no problem.
You guys need any help with anything?
Can't be in possession of any alcohol in public. Okay? So, want you to hang tight right here. I'll be right with you. Alright. Can I lean back? Is this a California driver's license?
What's up, guys? How you doing today? What's going on? How you doing today?
Everything's good, man. Now that I saw you. You ever been arrested?
Yeah.
For what? Are you on parole or probation right now?
Yeah.
Who picked you up?
Last night they got me sleeping up there. Got me sleeping in
Who did?
the parking lot.
Oh, I was gonna say we did a meeting. I didn't see you this morning. I had picked you up.
They released me a couple hours later.
Yeah. All right, man. We take it easy. Have a good lunch. All right.
Shit. As you can see, we had a couple guys over here that already had a little too much to drink. This guy right here, he's a regular.
See you guys later, man. You should take it easy.
All right, good luck, guys.
Whether patrolling Venice Beach or protecting the millions who go in and out of LAX or just keeping crime down here in Pacific area, the men and women who work here work very hard. Trust me, working in Pacific is no day at the beach. I'm Mary Grady. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next time on another edition of Inside the LAPD. If you've missed any past episodes of Inside the LAPD, or you just want to see your favorite episode again, go to www.lapdonline.org. Click on the LAPD TV logo to the LAPD TV page, scroll down, and you'll find Inside the LAPD.